Hi everybody, Christopher Moss, prointernetmarketing.co.uk. This video is video 5 in the series of how to make a website. So in the previous 4 videos we covered hosting, registering a domain, how to set up your email once you've got it all, once you've got your hosting and your email configured, hosting and your domain configured, and how to use the FTP client. And in this video we're going to be looking at how to actually install WordPress. Now, I will just very quickly cover why WordPress compared to anything else. You probably have heard of WordPress, and if you haven't, it's just wordpress.org. It's a very, very popular product out there. For sure you will have seen other blogs and stuff like that. And basically, I use WordPress for everything. My most recent site is danspodcast.co.uk. And that's running on WordPress, as you can see down the bottom, WordPress admin. I do everything with it. Basically, it's pretty useful for pretty much any kind of project. This is running on something called the Thesis theme. We'll cover that, what all that even means in more detail in this video, and potentially some subsequent videos as well, because it's quite an in-depth product. I guess I'll do a complete separate series of videos about how to use WordPress, because it's kind of out of the scope of this sort of beginners video series. I guess it's more of a follow-on. So that's the sort of the finished product, I guess, and this is where we're at now. So we need, as you will have seen in the previous videos, we've got just junk on the web page at the moment, so we need to install something. The main reason that I say we use WordPress, I guess, is because otherwise you would be sat there typing in HTML and designing a web page from scratch. Whereas what WordPress does is it gives you the web page pretty much set up, ready to go, and then you just do a bit of customizing to make it look how you want it. So it takes a lot of the sort of the horrible bit out of making a web page. I guess the most fun part to making a web page, unless you're into design and HTML and all that, is to, in my opinion, is to start making the content that's going on the web page. So basically, if you've registered with TSO Host and you've been going through as I've suggested, you'll have the cPanel. And one of the things that we covered in an earlier video was the Scriptaculous piece of the software thing. So we click on that, and this gives us options to install all these different scripts and programs and stuff without really any sort of input. But the one that we're in, I mean, you can go through this at your leisure and install the bits and pieces that you want. But the only thing that we're really interested in, from my point of view, is WordPress. So we click on WordPress, and we need to install it. So we're clicking on install. And then we've been given some options. So to install where we want to put it on just whitehoodie.co.uk. So what it's saying is just leave this box blank, but you could also just have it on, say, whitehoodie.co.uk/blog, and then what it's saying in there is you need to make sure that you are putting in blog like that, so effectively it goes into the right place. So I mean that's pretty straightforward, and more than likely you're wanting to put it onto the what's called the root of the domain. Just to make sure you're aware, /public_HTML is actually effectively the root of our domain. Don't worry if you don't understand that too much. It just means like the default place where this is where the web server looks to see where our files are to send out when people visit the web page. So that's considered to be the root of our domain. So next up, you can change the domain name. WP29 seems good to me. God only knows what that means, but type the name of the database to create it. And you can change that. I'm not going to. So you want to change this. White Hoodie as my domain. This will actually be the blog, the bits and pieces of the blog that get sent through. So you want a blog about white hoodies. You can obviously understand why this domain failed. And then, as I said in my previous video about FTPs setup, you really want to make sure that you've got this a little bit more secure than, say, admin and pass as your password. So again, we want to go to the strong password generator. I've already generated a password there. You might want to create a spreadsheet or a text document, or maybe even just write it down in a pad on, you know, that you keep near your computer with your passwords in. Anything's better than going with a soft password, really, a weak password. So I'm going to call ours admin. I'm going to leave it as admin because I am going to be deleting this, and I just want to make sure that I change this to one of the email addresses that I set up earlier. Now, you could just use the, you know, your human99@gmail.com, but it's actually, in my opinion, it's better to use everything sort of branded to the domain. So and also we can copy this, paste this in here. So this will email all our passwords and everything to us, so that we've got an email record of it. I'm going to go ahead and click install. Just before I do, just make sure that everything's okay. This bit, well, that's quite interesting. This piece here, as you go through and you're doing a bit more search engine optimization and stuff like that, this bit plays a little bit of a part. This will actually be, what this will do is, by default, if someone comes along to your website and goes www.whitehoodie.co.uk, now if you've set this up to go to have just only http:// as your like the prefix to your domain, it will redirect anyone that goes to www back to White Hoodie. And likewise, if you do the opposite and you send them to http:// www.whitehoodie.co.uk, if anyone goes there, it will actually put the W's in for you. That can be quite useful later on. So choose one that you're happy with and go with it, but ignore HTTPS because you don't need that. That's for secure sites, and it will only cause you problems further down the line. So leave it. Just choose one of the top two. I'm just going to leave it as is, because this is just a throwaway site. So all that looks good to me. So I'm going to hit the install button. And now, normally, if you've ever tried to do any of this before, you'll really appreciate just how straightforward and simple this is. You didn't need to know anything about your database. You didn't need to know anything about like your paths or anything, because normally you'd have to configure a WordPress conf file. But we'll see that now. If we go to our FTP, this all looks blank, and fair enough, at this stage it's actually saying we've timed out. So if we just click on, let's see, how can I reconnect quickly? I'll just go up one, and then I'll go back into public HTML. Okay, so we're actually reconnected, and the directory looks blank. Now this is, in my opinion, a weird bug in FileZilla. It doesn't actually refresh, so you need to hit the F5 key, and all of a sudden you've got this, full-on directory structure and everything. So I'm just going to download the WordPress WordPress config to your desktop. You actually, I'll cover this in a sec in a bit more detail, but I just want to show you. If you was doing this yourself, you would actually have to, without using Scriptaculous or whatever it's called, you'd have had to have configured this yourself. But here we are. It's created all this for us. So that's pretty cool, and that just basically sets up your WordPress so that it works with the site. So if we now go back to White Hoodie and hit refresh, there we go, we got a blog up. So you can start customizing this at this point and logging in and whatever, which, like I say, will be in a separate video, I guess. But we'll just cover the very basics at this stage. So it's giving us our admin URL. You might want to take a copy of this page so that you remember how to get back into your blog. I'm just opening that in a new tab. So we got admin. Oh, and we also should have received an email with our details in, which has not worked. So fair enough. That's one of the reasons that you should keep hold of your details separately to these scripts, I guess. And as you saw, I used this password, which I've been using all along. So I'm just going to click that, copy and paste it in. I'm just going to tick remember me, just in case, and yes, whatever. Like I say, it's a throwaway setup anyway. So browser is out of date, and that's good to know. That's just made me laugh. So this is the actual admin panel, and I'm just going to do a very quick post just to show you that this is a completely live site. So hi there, video viewers. Hi, this is Chris. And we're going to do a quick publish. And when we refresh the page, this should now be our first post. Excellent. So, you know, effectively you've got yourself a working website there with one click. So, you know, like I said, there's other stuff around here, and I wouldn't advise putting too much on one domain, but I'm going to close down that Scriptaculous now. I'm just going to quickly just show you some stuff that you will want to do. It's saying there, change permalinks. That's actually quite important, and I think it should be set this by default. So you probably want to change this to something more like month and date, because otherwise, when you go onto your web page, all these posts are going to have weird URLs like that. Question mark P=4. Like, well, no one's going to be able to remember that really. So what you actually want to do is this permalink thing actually just makes things a bit more memorable. And sometimes what I like to do on my sites is just take this part out. Oh, it's going to be a weird pain. There we go. Just change that to custom structure of just post name. And then if we do a, let's just see, probably have to do a home. And now if we go to our web page, there we go, we've got hi video viewers. So we've actually got quite a nice friendly URL there. It just makes things easier for the the end user, I guess. So that's one thing that I always do. And I also, you probably want to change your appearance and your plugins and stuff. It's certainly worth at this point just saying go in there, have a look around, play with the options. Just make sure. One other cool thing that many people don't do is if you go into users and edit, and if you change your name in here, so my site is called White Hoodie and not White Hodu, and then just change your display name to White Hoodie. Actually, it gets your site's title on every single page, which is great for search engine optimization. I know covering a few little sort of advanced things here, but it all adds up. This theme doesn't seem to show my name. Oh, logged in as White Hoodie. So those are just a couple of little details I do, and what I would suggest at this point is obviously have a play around with it, but hopefully what I'm going to do actually is do a full video series on how to configure a WordPress blog, because like I say, it's a bit more involved than perhaps covering it in a beginner's video. So the only thing that's really left in this series now is just going to be how to back up this site, because obviously it's the one thing that most people forget to do, but it's quite important really in the scheme of things, and a bit of peace of mind as well for yourself, because it's a bit more complicated than you'd think doing the backup. So that's going to be the next and final video in this series. So see you in it.